Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another lesson, the final one in Unit 9, Lesson 9.10, Applying the Pythagorean Identity. At this time, I would like you to go ahead and update today's topic and the date. Today is the 5th of May, 2020. Feliz Cinco de Mayo to one and all. And for all of you Star Wars fans, today is commemoration of the revenge of the fifth or Sith, right? That said, please go ahead and pause the video until you're ready. And then once you are finished, return and we'll go right into the Think About It section for today. All right, welcome back. We'll start out in the Think About It section. Now, yesterday I was telling you that today's lesson is going to be a little bit more challenging than yesterday's. And so if you need to visit me during my office hours. I have a few people already signed up. Please make sure that you use that to your advantage. Okay? Today's aim, students given sine, cosine, and tangent and the quadrant of an angle, A, students will be able to use the Pythagorean identity to find sine of A, cosine of A, or tangent of A. All right, so our Think About It section says that we should recall the Pythagorean identity. Sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals 1, where theta is any real number, and we're supposed to find tan of theta, given cosine theta is negative 5 over 13, and it's between pi and 3 pi over 2. Show all work or justify your thinking. Okay, so we'll start out by first figuring out what quadrant we're going to be in. So if you remember from the unit circle, okay, this is quadrant 1, quad 2, quad 3, and quadrant 4. Okay, now this one would be 0, comma 2 pi. Up here would be pi over 2. Over here is pi. And over here is 3 pi over 2. Okay, now it tells us that we're going to be within pi and 3 pi over 2. So that would be quadrant 3. Okay, now it also tells us that the cosine direction, aka the x direction, this way, is going to be negative 5 over 13. So negative 5 over 13 this direction. Okay, so from here to here should be negative 5 over 13. And we're supposed to use our nice triangle, which they don't give us a y direction. So we're supposed to figure that out. And since it's a unit circle, we know that our hypotenuse is going to be from here to here, measurement of 1. Okay? And so we have our x value, we don't have a y, and we have the hypotenuse. Okay. So knowing this information, no. Let's see if we can get this back. Okay, camera froze a little bit. No big deal. All right, so knowing this piece of information, what we need to do now is find a way to solve for the sine, okay? Because tangent says that we need the cosine value and the sine value, okay? Tangent is sine over cosine. So once we have the cosine already, once we find the sine, then we can find the tangent. So let's set out to find the sine. Now there's more than one ways to do this, but preferably, since the question says use this identity to find the tangent, we have the cosine value. We're just going to sub that in here to find the sine value. So let's do it this way. So it says sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is going to be equal to 1. Okay. We have the cosine value, which is negative 5 over 13. We're going to have to square that. Should give us 1. We don't have the sine value, so that's what we're going to try to find. Okay. When we square this number, we end up with negative 5 squared is 25 over 13 times 13 is 169. Okay. So now we need to do 25 over 169, subtract that from both sides. $25 over 169. Okay. So now sine squared theta is equal to what? What is 1 subtract negative 125 over 169? To do this quickly, you would just change the 1 into 169 over 169 so that they have the same denominator. Makes it easy to subtract. 169 over 169, subtract 25 over 169. You do that, you should end up with 144 over 169. Okay? Now, since we are not looking for sine squared theta, we're looking for sine. What we would end up doing is finding the square root of both sides to get rid of the square. Okay, so sine theta would be equal to square root of 144 is 12. Square root of 169 is 13. Okay, so sine of theta would give you 12 over 13. Now, something to keep in mind is that in quadrant 3, the x value is negative, and the y value is also negative. Okay? So the sine value here, which is the y over here, would also have to be negative. So we have to change that to negative. Okay. Now that we have that, we can go and solve for tan. Tan um, tan of theta is equal to sine theta over cosine theta. Okay, and the sine value is negative 12 over 13, and the cosine value is negative 5 over 13. Okay, let's rewrite that so it looks better. We can have negative 12 over 13 divided by negative 5 over 13, which is the same as saying negative 12 over 13 times. Keep it, switch it, flip it. 13 over negative 5. Okay, this will cancel with this one. And now we have the negative canceling the negative, so we have 12 over 5 as our answer. Okay. Hopefully this was helpful for you, and hopefully it made sense. Um, there's quite a bit of steps involved. Usually people get lost when there's lots of steps, but if you have this information ready, and if you remember your quadrants and where they're positive and negative, that will clear up lots of the confusion. Okay? All right. Thank you for joining me today. Please be ready for class, and I'll see you in a few moments.